welcome back to another stream. I am very, very tired, so if I do look a little bit tired and I do look a little bit done in, then please do bear with me. But welcome back to another. Today we're going to do the ultimate bounce, the 16-hour rave aftermath that took place yesterday. But alongside that, we're gonna have a couple of little just talk and updates about some other things. And I've got a pretty cool story that happened today. Well, quite a mad story that I'm also gonna tell a little bit later on in the stream. So if you are intrigued to hear about the mad story of what happened today, then you might want to stick around because it will be quite cool and it will be quite interesting. But we'll get to the main topic of obviously the stream, and that is the aftermath of the Ultimate Bounce. So Ultimate Bounce, they put on a massive 16-hour rave yesterday. However, it didn't actually quite end up being 6 hours. There was a few changes, and it didn't go as long as 16 hours, but it still went for like a heck of a long time. Um, it was still on for a really good length of time, and it was still outside and all the rest of it. It just didn't, unfortunately, go for the whole entire 16 hours. But I think maybe the 16 hours, pardon, I think the 16 hours might have been a little bit too much. And I think the fact that it wasn't on for 16 hours was probably, maybe not such a bad thing. So the event started at 2 in the afternoon, and it went through all the way. I think it went through until about midnight or something like that. So it was supposed to go right through to 6 in the morning, but I think it finished around midnight. But don't quote me on it. I didn't stay like for that length of time to really really be intrigued, really see sort of what time it finished. But I do know it finished earlier than the initial 16 hours it was due to go for. So we were at Beach nightclub in Cleethorpes, which is a really good, nice club, by the way. It's actually I actually quite kind of rate the club, and I would love to get more opportunities to actually play in that venue, because it is actually a really good venue, and it's got a good vibe to it, and it is really good. Um, so um, so yesterday, like I say, was this massive rave, and it was all about sort of like bounce music, and there was loads of DJs from Anna Mac to Benjamin to Drake Liddell. Which, by the way, I've been calling him Drake Liddell, and I found out yesterday that it's Liddell. So if Drake does happen to stumble across this, I do apologise for calling him Liddell. And it was a pleasure to meet him. And I just want to say, he played an absolutely belting set. And the way he started that set was, for me, it was probably one of the most funniest, but probably one of the most favourite set starters that I have probably ever listened to and ever witnessed in my whole entire life. And we'll get on to that a little bit later. But what he started his set with at the event yesterday was nothing that I ever expected in my whole entire life, and it was actually so funny, and it was so good at the same time. So, like I say, the event started at 2, and I think we got there somewhere around 3 o'clock. So, there was a little bit of there was a little bit of miscommunication yesterday, and I beat it around. I beat it around the bush, and I took a long diversion to get to the event. So what had happened is the ultimate bounce was obviously taking place, and I spoke with the layman, and he was on about potentially taking me to the event. He was up for doing it, and then there was a little bit of talk with the promoter that the promoter was actually going to book him to host my set, and then unfortunately the promoter wasn't unable to go ahead and book him for the set. Run out of funds in the budget for this event and said he'd get him sort of on the next one. So that was all fine and good. And on Saturday, the my friend the layman came down with like a stomach bug, or like got like really bad stomach pains, and he wasn't well, and he went home and he went to bed. So I kind of didn't really want to hassle him about, like, oh, drive me to this event kind of thing. When I didn't, think he would be kind of like 100%. So it come to the next day, and I was debating on travel, and I thought, well, there's a 250 bus that will take me directly to Grimsby. Then I'll jump from Grimsby to Cleethorpes, and I'll just have to do it that way. Unfortunately, the buses weren't running, so that was kind of like my first snag. And then I was trying to think of like what to do, and in the end, I jumped on a train to Doncaster, and then I got picked up from Doncaster by some of the other DJs that were playing from Doncaster, and basically I rode in his car to the event. And then I spoke to the layman, and he was actually down and up for coming. But by this point, I'd already like committed and bought a train ticket, so I had to kind of go through with going on the train because I'd bought the ticket. So that was a little bit of a shame. So I said, well, look, like you could pick me up, and that way I wouldn't have to go all the way back to Doncaster and then hop back on the train. So we then decided that he was going to come and pick me up. And then he then decided that he was actually going to come to listen to my set. He'll come and see my set, and some of his friends are on the lineup. So he did that, and then he actually just ended up hosting my set. So that was so everything that kind of was originally going to happen, that we didn't think was going to happen, just happened anyway, and we just kind of beat it around the bush. So that kind of happened, but we arrived somewhere around 3 o'clock. The event was just nicely getting underway. It wasn't too busy at this point. There was a few people here, but there wasn't loads, and there was 2 rooms. And I'm not gonna lie, the second room, you kind of at times you had to really debate, like, really was there any need to really have the second room? Like, the event wasn't really busy enough to have the second room. And then sort of as the day went on, it like gradually got busier. But in all honesty, like, it didn't get really busy to the point where there was really a need for the 2 rooms. So you had this kind of like, the outside would be like really good, and there'd be a good vibe there and a good crowd and everybody enjoying themselves. And then you would have the inside, and like, sometimes there would like literally be nobody in there. And and at times there'd maybe be like 5 people in there. So I kind of felt sorry for people that were playing in there that just kind of played to nobody. Sometimes a few people ventured in, and the inside kind of went a little bit busy, and the outside kind of died off a little bit. But the outside, unfortunately, for the people inside, was kind of where the vibe was at, and it was nice to be outside. People can smoke. Big shout to Lizard. So yeah, people can smoke. People, it's basically, you put something like that outside, it kind of just gives people like everything that they want. They can have a drink, they can have a smoke, and they can still rave at the same time. Whereas when you're inside, you have to go outside to have a smoke. So the fact that the music's just there outside, that was obviously, for people, like, they're going to stay outside. So that was kind of the unfortunate thing. Now, originally, I was to play inside. I was to play 5 o'clock, B2B with Tyler D, good friend of mine. and basically the 6 o'clock set outside became available. Jamie, who is the promoter of the event, was going to play at that time, and he was sort of more needed to sit in the ticket booth, and sort of like at the entrance, and just kind of keep an eye on things, rather than go behind the decks and play a set. So he basically said, look, do you want to take the outside set at 6 o'clock? And no disrespect to Tyler D, because he absolutely smashes it behind the decks, and I've got a lot of respect for the guy. I do just genuinely prefer doing solo sets as opposed to as opposed to back to backs, and I did kind of by this point. Like when I got asked, I did kind of already sort of prefer the vibe outside. So I obviously took you know, obviously, took great pleasure in kind of saying, yeah, I'll do the outside set. So I did the outside set, and what can I say? It was a really really enjoyable set. It was not didn't really have anything planned that I was gonna play. Other than the sort of like intro tune, so I had like this intro tune that I knew I wanted to play, and that was kind of it. There was no real other reason for me to really want to, to know what I really wanted to play. So I just kind of played that intro tune. There was another tune that I knew I wanted to play at some point, that I bought from Bounce Heaven, and that was like really literally about it. There wasn't really any other sort of tune that I really wanted to play. Um, Really that I knew of in particular. So it was just a case of kind of winging it. So I kind of winged it. I played some tunes that kind of took people on a bit of a different journey to just kind of doing like a full-on bounce set. And I think it kind of paid off. There was some reverse bass drops in there. There was some like hard bass drops. There was just some different sort of style of tunes, and I think it kind of really made for a little bit of a different set. It wasn't just bounce, and it was just kind of something that was quite enjoyable. So I had a really good time. The Layman ended up hosting, and then I did end up having a little bit of a B2B with Tyler after all. Let him kind of just spin a couple of tunes. He didn't really get much chance to really play to anybody inside. So so I let him kind of just spin a couple of tunes, and drop some really nice bounce, and just really enjoyed the set. And he also sort of just for a bit of a laugh went on the mic for a little bit, which was really good. And then Gareth Davis jumped on after me, and he played probably for me one of the best sets that I think I've ever heard him play. I don't know, like, and this is like really mad because he was actually not feeling too well. He was actually rough from the night before, but he actually, for me, played one of the best sets that I've ever heard him play. And I've hosted him a couple of times. I grabbed the mic on his set, and I always like to grab the mic on his set, but he just played an absolutely belting set. So, big ups to Gareth on that. And then Drake Liddell came in after Gareth Davis and started, which I sort of mentioned earlier, he started, which was probably for me one of the most memorable set starters that I am probably ever going to remember in my whole entire life. It was absolutely it was just crazy. So Drake Liddell came on, and he started to his set that went into none other than the EastEnders theme tune. Like, honestly, like, it was just the most funniest thing ever. Like, it was just because when it first started, you didn't think it was going to go into EastEnders, and then it went into EastEnders like so unexpectedly. And everybody in the courtyard was just thinking like, what the hell is going on? and then and then it just dropped into this like banging donk tune, and it was a really, like, you know, if you want to go on the decks and get noticed for starting a set, like, that is the way you do it. And the thing about it is, like, what he did there is kind of like exactly what I like to do on a set. So I like to sometimes in a set, I like to just bring out sometimes the most weirdest, the most cheesiest tune, that is known to man. Something that you can just constant, you know, something that, like, the crowd are just not going to expect. Something that, you just kind of like, you know, you don't want to sort of give yourself away that you dance to it, but then you just can't help but dance to it. A bit like dropping something like Barbie Girl. Like, you know, people are like, oh God, like, I won't dance to Barbie Girl, but then it comes on and you can't help but dance to it. So I like to do stuff like that. And during my set, I've got this Critical Mass version. It's a remix of PPK Resurrection, and it's not Resurrection. It sounds like it's going to be Resurrection, and it's actually goes into the final countdown. So it's the final countdown, and it plays the theme tune from the final countdown song. But it plays it in like the same style, like in the same note sound as PPK Resurrection. So when it first drops in, you think it's going to be Resurrection, and then it just goes into that diddle doo, diddle doo, diddle doo. And people just don't expect it. And then there's another one that I drop from Critical Mass that goes into My Baby Shot Me Down. So that David Guetta Shot Me Down, which is a remix of an old song, and that actually goes into the 90s Paul Johnson Get Down. So it actually, the track's called My Baby Shot Me Down, Down, Down. And it goes into that, and people just, like, they don't expect it. Like, when they hear the Shot Me Down, they think like, oh my days, and then it goes into, you know, it goes into, you know, like the Paul Johnson and the 90s piano and the happy vibes, and they love it. So what Drake did at the beginning of his set it was phenomenal. It was just exactly something I'd do in a set. So I'm absolutely, like, I can't believe he did that. Like, that's obviously like something, you know, like, just absolutely crazy. But yeah, what can I say? So we witnessed a bit of Drake Liddell, and Lehman hosted a little bit of the set because Drake Liddell asked Lehman, look, you know, stay on and host my set. So I sort of floated around. My friend Eugene, he was in the other room playing, so I sort of swapped between the two rooms because I didn't want to just kind of like, you know, I wanted to see my mate Eugene play, but at the same time, I'd never seen Drake Liddell play before, other than like seeing him online and stuff, and you know, I wanted to meet the guy, and it was good to see him for the first time, and so I kind of wanted to catch the set, you know, both sets, so I sort of floated between the two. Kind of checked out both, you know, from sort of time to time, and then basically, you know, we left probably about halfway through the set, and left the event, went to get food. I actually hadn't eaten all day. I had a little bit of a. I didn't get up too late, but when I got up, and then with all the stuff that was going on with the travel, it was kind of like, right, well, you're literally going to have to like get a train in the next hour. So I just kind of had to like start getting ready and then having something to eat. Just to, you know, I wasn't mega hungry at that point, so having something to eat just wasn't really on my agenda. But then it got later on in the day, and I got peckish, and then it got into the night, and I thought I could eat now. So we decided, you know, that me and Lehman, we decided that, you know, that we'd go and, you know, that we'd go and eat. We went to this takeaway, and I got doner meat and chips, and believe it or not, it actually came in a pizza box. It was like really weird. Like they'd put it in this like real little mini like 7-inch, 8-inch pizza box. And the chips were like chunky chips, but it was actually really nice. It was like a really, really enjoyable meal actually, and it was just so good. Like when I hadn't eaten all day. So Ultimate Bounce, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely loved it. So big ups to Jamie for having me on, and there'll be another Ultimate Bounce coming very soon, as I know there is already. It's sort of like just general ideas. We know that he wants to do another. That he wants to do another event, and he'll be getting something in the pipeline very soon. So we'll kind of see what that is, and we'll kind of see obviously what we'll kind of see what goes down, if that makes sense. So that'll so chips chunky or squishy, no, so crunchy, chunky chips. But yeah, so there'll be another Ultimate Bounce very soon. I'm looking forward to whatever the future will be for the Ultimate Bounce. So I'll make announcements like if I'm a part of the next one, which I think by this point, like I am a pretty solid part of these Ultimate Bounces now. I don't like to kind of like jinx myself or blow smoke up my own backside, but I do play most of them now, and and I know me and Jamie, we've got a good sort of like friendship, and he puts me on them, and we have a good time. So I would imagine that the next one will obviously be happening sort of sometime soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So I'll give you a little update on the progress of riding solo. So riding solo released on last Wednesday on Excite Digital, and it went into number 9 on the Excite Digital charts. And when I last checked, which was probably about 5 or 6 hours ago, it was still in number 10. So it was in number 9. It went back to number 10, and then it stayed at number 10 for a while. But I don't know, like it could have gone like completely off the charts by now. It could have gone back down. I'm not entirely sure. But it did go to number 9 and then sort of back to number 10. And that's still an achievement for me with that track. So I think the most that I've ever got on the charts, and I can't remember which track it was. There was one of my tracks that I put onto um, I think one of the tunes I sent to them went all the way up to number 3, went to the number 3 position in the charts, and I think that was like the highest that I'd ever got. It briefly went to number 3. It wasn't in the number 3 for long, but it briefly went to number 3, and then it went sort of like back up to number 5 or something like that. I can't remember the tune. I want to say it was either High Hopes or the Hangover one. I think it might have been the High Hopes, but I can't fully remember. But them getting in the charts is an achievement for me. And I'm just glad that for me the track's out there and people can buy it if they want, and that for me is what it's all about. Not I do like it when they do well and they go up in the charts, and and they go to number 5 or number 6. But at the end of the day, for me, the track's there. People can buy it. It's just another outlet for me to say, look, I've got some music on here. If you like it, you can purchase it. And that is like literally, the be all and the end all of the whole sort of thing. So that's kind of like the dealio. So riding solo is doing well, so thank you to everybody that obviously has supported that track, pre-release and obviously since the release, that has obviously got it into the charts and stuff like that. So massive thank you to that. So I've got a little story to tell you now, and this is a story of what's happened today. Um, so let me just, because this guy's just spamming. Um, so yeah, so today there was no rest for the wicked. So we was up early this morning, and I've had about 4 hours sleep. So after the event, I didn't come straight home, and I got home probably somewhere around 2:30 in the morning. Heavy bank holiday. What can I say? So I had about 4 hours sleep, and we had to be up because we was going on a little adventure today. And we went to, believe it or not, we went to a theme park. We went to Flamingo Land. Now, I've not been to Flamingo Land for a lot of years. Like, I think the last time I probably would have gone to Flamingo Land, if I even ever have in a, well, I have been before obviously, but I couldn't really tell you the last time I went apart from today. I seem to think I went with my sister, but I don't fully know whether I did or not. And if I did, she would have only have been young, and I can't really fully remember like what year it would be. But obviously, I've been myself as a kid. I've been going there for years. I just haven't been for a long time. So my friend was basically his sisters, his nieces. So there was a good few of us, and we all went. And we just had this day out essentially. Now theme parks and fun fairs, they're not really my strong point. Now, I know you're probably thinking, but you DJ the whole fair every year. DJing it is kind of different, and over the years I have adapted. So when I was a kid and all through my childhood, I did not like fast rides. I did not like rides. I hated like things that used to spin around, things that used to go fast. Um, Things that have obviously like never really been a big staple in my life. I used to be, I never used to be brave enough to go on things like the waltzers. I never used to go on like twisters, Miami fevers, or anything like that. I used to hate them. And then over the years, I kind of like got convinced, like, oh, you should go on them. And for whatever reason, like just over time, like I've been sort of like convinced that all right, I'll go on these rides. And waltzers, I think, was like one of the first ones, and then I thought, actually, I actually quite like this. Now I actually do go on the waltzers, and I don't mind them. Then I went on a twister. And a twister is really not that bad at all. It's nowhere near as anything like what a waltzer is. So I don't know why I never obviously went on to obviously I don't know. I don't obviously know why I didn't go on like the twister before the waltzers. And then at the Miami Fever, I got dragged on to a Miami Fever. I remember the first time I went on it, I did absolutely poo my pants at first, and then once it had gone round a couple of times, I kind of got used to it. Which the only thing about them rides is like you get used to it, and then then you coming off the ride, and then going to rides is not really a regular thing for me. So it was like then when the fair comes back round again the next year, you don't really go on one again, and then you kind of think, oh, and then you have all that kind of like, because you've not really been on it, and then it kind of gets you again, and then before you've kind of, you've just got used to it, like the ride's ending again. So we went to the theme park today, and one thing that I have never ever been on, apart from like the like real little kiddie kind of like, caterpillar rides, is roller coasters. Roller coasters have never been a strong point for me. I don't like them. I don't like the thought of roller coasters that like go like really high up and then you go upside down and you go around loops. I've always had bad eyesight. And they're just always something that I've always been afraid of. People have been like, "Oh, you should come on this roller coaster. Why aren't you going on it, Noble?" And I just never have. And today, my friend convinced me that he would get me to go on a roller coaster. And the roller coaster itself isn't like one that goes like really high up in the air. It doesn't go upside down, doesn't go around the loop. But it is a motorbike roller coaster. So basically, you sit on these bikes, and basically what happens is you sit on the bikes and you go around this little corner, and then the ride stops, and then you hear these like revving sounds, like as if you would like actually be on a bike. And then all of a sudden you just get catapulted to about 75 miles an hour, and you go up in the air, but you don't go mega high, but you go, I suppose, like for somebody who's like scared of roller coasters, you go high enough. And then you kind of go around these twists and turns, and you don't go upside down, but you kind of tilt. So like as if when you're motorbike racing, and you obviously lean and you get your knee down, it's to kind of give that illusion. And you're racing quite fast, but the ride itself probably only lasts about 15 to 20 seconds. Like once you've catapulted, like you kind of go around it really quick, and then before you know it, you're back in the station. Um, and I've never been, like I say, I don't do roller coasters. I've never been on them before. So I was absolutely shitting a brick. Like at the thought of going on this roller coaster, I was shitting a brick. I was terrified. And I was like, before we got to the theme park, I was like, yeah, I might go on it. Yeah, I'll probably brave it and have a go. And then I got there and I kind of thought, you know what, like, I might go on it a bit later, and that was kind of me trying to push it off. So like, we'd get doing other things, and then we just wouldn't have time to go on it, and then I wouldn't have actually have had to go on it. But then it turns out that we were actually going to go on it first. And I had a little bit of nerves, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't think I can do this, and I was like, oh my god. And then I got onto the roller coaster. Well, we got sort of queuing and we got quite near to it, and I watched it and I thought, actually, it doesn't look that bad. And then I thought, actually, do you know what? Like, I've rode bikes on the road, like, so I'm just, get on it and brave it. And then I got onto the coaster, and we were kind of sat, and we got positioned on the bike, and you're on the bike proper leaning as if you were on a motorbike and you are about to set off and do a race, like where you kind of your head's like into the screen of the front of the bike, like proper really like a motorbike position. And I was about to have an anxiety attack. I was shitting a brick. I was so scared. Like I just thought, like I can't do this, and it was really scary because you're on this little bike, and but the bike's on this like little track, and it's almost like you're hanging off the edge, and then all that's like below you is like the ground, but you're already raised up as it is. So I was like proper, like shitting a brick, and then we like moved around, and when we moved around, I was like, this already felt like, when you get that vibe that something's about to go really fast, like that was the vibe I got. And then we position up and it starts making the rev sounds, and then all of a sudden it shoots us off. And I absolutely shit a brick. Like it set off so fast. And we go up to the top of this hill, and as we get to the top of the hill, my glasses come off. The wind takes my glasses off, and somehow I managed to grab my glasses in midair. And I grabbed my glasses, and then I dropped them. But when I dropped them, they actually fell on the bike, and then I managed to pick them back up off the bike and put them back on. And honestly, like, because I was already like scared of the ride at this point, and then like just like to be able to not kind of like stop the glasses, to be able to stop the glasses from actually like from me actually losing them, that was obviously like the most craziest thing ever. That they literally like it shoots along and they literally just go like that. But kind like I felt them go off and I just kind of went like I went like that, but then I dropped them and they fell on the bike. And like honestly, it was the most craziest like thing ever. But how I managed to keep them glasses, while bearing in mind the ride has just gone up this thing, so it's gone up. They've got off, I've dragged them, but then it's gone back down and it's twisting, and then I'm like, and I'm trying to get the glasses. It was like the most craziest thing ever, and then I actually really enjoyed the ride, and I actually thought, you know what, I'd go on that again, but like I would probably like prepare myself like a little bit more because like now obviously I know that like my glasses and things like will more than likely blow off. So when it comes to that case, I probably could just take them off like just for the one ride. Like because like I'm meant to wear them all the time, but I could like the ride is like what 20 seconds. So like just before I go on the ride, I could like put my glasses into a pocket or something. Um, just so I know, obviously, like that, that they wouldn't blow off again. So that was obviously like like the craziest thing. And I felt really on a like adrenaline after that. I felt like actually, do you know what? Like this is like I can't believe I did it. Like I felt really proud of myself for going onto that ride and going onto a kind of like a roller coaster for the first time. So that was a good thing. And then I saw this like spinny ride that basically you're on this like big circle, and basically it starts spinning. But as it starts spinning, it starts moving and it's going up and down like this, but while it's going up and down, it's kind of spinning around. So it's almost like when you're on a skate park and you're on them big ramps and you go from one side down and you go up to the other. It's kind of like that. But you're on this like big circle thing and you start spinning and you go really high. And then like you go almost to the point where you're like halfway to being upside down, and you're just looking at the ground, and then you kind of like you come back down and it almost looks like you're gonna go into the ground, or like you're gonna go into like a roof of like a little hut that controls some teacups, and but then you just miss it, and then you go like that, and then you look like you're going into it, but then you actually go over it, and then you go back up, and I went on that, and I was thinking like I've just gone on the motorbikes, like I want to give this ride a go, and I got onto the ride, and you sit right at the edge, and again it looks like you're right on the edge, and then I started to sort of like shit myself again. I was a bit like, this is actually quite more nerve wracking than you think, and then it kind of like sets off, and then it starts spinning and it gets faster and faster, and I just loved it. I just absolutely loved it. So I was proper buzzed with myself, because I've always never been really one for doing a lot of fast rides. And don't get me wrong, I didn't then go on to tackle these big roller coasters that go upside down, but I definitely went on just a couple of like sort of bigger end, sort of faster rides, and I do kind of feel now that I probably could take on some of these some bigger rides as well. So it was fun, for me. I hit some challenges, and sort of like overcome them challenges. And in all fairness, my friend, he just wasn't going to give it a rest. Like his aim was to get me on that motorbike ride, and he got me on it. He didn't take no for an answer. And in all fairness, looking back now, I'm glad he got me on it, because obviously it broke my confidence. Like now, I would go on that ride again. I'd still probably shit myself again because I only went on it once. Like the queue was quite big for it, and there was a lot of other things we wanted to do. But it was going on it once, and it was kind of breaking my roller coaster virginity, if you like. You know, and I don't think I like even though I went onto that coaster, I don't think like I would probably go and start tackling ones that you know where you go like mega high and then you drop down into a loop and go upside down, because my eyesight is quite bad and I don't think my eyes could take that. But I definitely think it is the start of me going to definitely start going on to some faster rides and definitely doing some more things, and who knows for the future. So I wanted to share that story though about the glasses, because how I managed to save them glasses, that was like the most craziest thing, like the reflex that I must have had to have, like, and how I had that reflex just to grab them so quick was just unreal. Like I can't believe that I had the reflex and I grabbed them glasses so quick, so they didn't fall. It was like the most craziest thing ever. So, but anyway, that is going to do it for the stream. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share, and we shall see you in the next one. There is one other thing. So this Friday, I am heading over to Doncaster, and basically there's an event on Silver Street. I played on Silver Street once before a couple of years ago. Anyway, to cut the story short, there's an event, a new brand has taken over the Tropic Bar on Silver Street, and there's an event that is taking place. And basically, I just left a comment and said that look, I'll have to try and come to this event or to one of your events, and they said, and they basically told me to come, and they said bring a USB stick, and they want to obviously put me on the decks to play a set. So obviously now obviously they want me to bring a USB stick and play a set, and now there's kind of more of a set being kind of negotiated. I am obviously more than definitely up for obviously making the trip. So the only issue for me is I will more than likely I'll more than likely be going on the train. So I will have to get the last train back, unfortunately, which is about 20 past 11. So I won't be able to play any form of set that would like that would go into the early hours, or anything like that. So we'll have to see what happens. But they said come down with a USB stick, so I'm going to negotiate a little bit more. But it looks like I could be attending this event at the weekend on Friday, and we'll see how it goes. So make sure to like, comment, share. We'll see you soon.